Hello and welcome to Zoom for Basses. Remember, this video is to help you practice. So some things I will do will give you an introduction to the idea, and then you have to repeat the exercise until you're comfortable with it. You're going to be developing good habits and then practicing to make it great habits, so that while you're playing in orchestra, you're still able to follow the conductor and listen to everybody else in the rehearsal. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through the entire piece and give you tutorial checkpoints, and then I'll play the entire piece through in a slow practice tempo. Okay? Fantastic. We're going to start by just taking a look at the key signature. We have one flat in the key signature. We have 4 beats in the time signature, and that means that we're doing a lot of things in half position or shifting in second position and keeping our hand in that area. So we're going to start with playing F natural. Now, you might want to consider first finger F, fourth finger C, and then shifting to D, another option for you. Looking at measure 5, you have a syncopated rhythm. So in measure 5, you are still pizzicato, so you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and when you connect 2 eighth notes together, that becomes the note value, the quarter note. So making sure in measure 5 we subdivide so we don't go too fast before we play the final 3 eighth notes of that measure. Then we look up to measure 9. Measure 9, same rhythm, but now you have to deal with your bow. 1 and 2 and 3 and when you do that, you have to make sure that your arm is heavy enough and not moving too quickly, because we know if we get in the upper half, it's going to be hard to make some of those strings on the bass resonate. So staying in the lower half, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay. Measure 10. You're on the beat or you're off the beat. So your job is to find the 8th notes and the 8th rests, and then do the math and add those eighths into quarters, and then find the big 4 beats. So here's measure 10, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It all lines up, and if you're subdividing out loud, you'll always be with the pulse. The same rhythm happens in 12. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Slight variation though in measure 14. So sometimes what happens is you get into a habit of playing something a certain way, but then it changes. So looking at 14, we have 1 and 2 and quarter. 15, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and. Lots of eighth notes to subdivide there. Basses, of course, you're specialists when it comes to rhythm because you do a lot of counting as you fill in the large beats. Looking at measure 21, nothing different there. You have eighth notes or you have eighth rests. Now remember that A flat is just like G sharp, so it's going to be a low first finger. We have F in 21, A flat, B flat. You can play all of that in half position. Put your 4th finger on F, first finger on A flat, first finger on B flat. You just stay there, one position. How convenient. Now 23, I'm going to tell you it's no different than any other measure. I know, you see a dotted quarter note, you're still just subdividing eighth notes. So if you look at the rhythm of measure 23, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. In a dotted quarter note, we have 3 eighth notes, because the dot just adds half of the value. And we know a quarter note is 2 eighth notes, because that's math. Eighth plus an eighth equals a quarter. So half of a quarter note is another eighth note. Therefore, a dotted quarter note is eighth plus eighth plus eighth. So in our heads, we're thinking 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So like I said, do the math. You'll find where that note is. Looking ahead at measure 25, no different. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Measure 26, is it different? Not really. You're right, it's not. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great. 28, same as the beginning. 31, same as the measures with the tied notes in them like measures 5 and 9, and then we get to measure 39. Now 39 changes because we're maestoso, so it's going to be a broader tempo. The key signature changes. Now we have a sharp in the key signature. That means that every F is now an F sharp unless you see the natural symbol. Also, we have only 3 beats per measure, and because you're a bass, you're going to help the whole orchestra dance because you're going to give us all these big downbeats. Terrific. Looking ahead at 53, you have the same thing, it's just sustained. So that takes us all the way to 76. Now 76 is the same tempo as the beginning. How do you know it? Well, it says tempo 1. So you want to make sure that you are looking ahead and getting ready for the speed that you had at the very beginning of the piece. Now this is fun. At 78, you get to have the melody. So you have to subdivide to the 16th note, which means counting like this. 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and counting out loud to the 16th note. Now again, let's think fractions. Quarter equals 2/8. So that means a quarter equals 4 16th notes. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and that's how we subdivide those 16th notes. In 81, boy, when you play a long note and you see it tied, you better be subdividing, so you make sure not to play it too long or too short. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 86, any different than earlier? No, you're right, it's not. Find the 8th notes, find the 8th rests. Looking all the way down to 94, we got the beginning again. How nice. Once you've learned something well, you can apply it to so much of the piece, which takes us all the way up to measure 105. In 105, we once again have a key signature change. We now have 2 sharps. Every F is now F sharp, and every C is now C sharp, unless there's a natural. Also, we have the words andante misterioso, which means it's slower, and we know that the color has changed. The character is doing something differently here, because misterioso is not con brio. Con brio is with brilliance and excitement, and misterioso, well, it's mysterious. One last change. There are 5 beats per measure, so you've got to be able to count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for every single measure, all the way up until 124. It's tricky to count to 5 because it's an irregular number and our body doesn't feel that groove very well. So when we do the run through, you'll hear me counting out loud. The one measure I'd like to point out is at 110 because you have to think about where those beats are. So in 110 we have a rest, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 1. So we have to do lots of subdivision and count to 5 in measures 10 and 112. Definitely something you might want to review. And here's one last little moment. You get to be melodic. How nice. At 119, you're going to play A to B flat. You need to shift up to high D, first finger C, and then shift back to first position and second finger B flat, first finger A, G, and then even though everything sounds really minor, it's a nice high F sharp. Open D, half position, fourth finger C, low first finger B flat, open A, low first finger E flat, and then open D. It's a nice line. So I would review where those notes are, then I would add the slurs, and then I would go through the practice track. Okay, when I look from there all the way to the end of the piece, I don't see too many new things. I see that we have a couple of words. If you see S-U-B, sub, that's short for subito, which means suddenly, and that usually has to do with dynamics. So usually it's suddenly loud or suddenly soft. Another thing that you're going to see is a bunch of Italian words on top near the measure numbers. So at 145, you see più allegro, that means more faster. Then at 151, you see accelerando, that just means accelerate, which means more faster. And then 156, that means lively, which basically means more faster. And then you see accelerando al fine, which means accelerate all the way to the end, which means go faster and faster and faster until you finish the piece. So that's everything that you might need as a bass player, just to take a look at each of these measures. Now I'm going to play the entire piece through. as a practice track. It'll be under tempo. I won't be doing the tempo changes, but I will be doing all of the dynamics and the accents, as well as counting the rhythm out loud for you. Ready? Let's start right on measure 2. Ready? And measure 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and subdivide. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Get your bow ready. You have open strings, and 1, and 2, and measure 10. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 6, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 18, suddenly soft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, half position, C, first finger E flat, F natural crescendo, and 2, 3, and 4, forte, 1, and 2, and 3, and 23, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, piano, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 28, 20, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 31, 1, and 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 3 measures rest. 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. Keep track of those measures rest in your head, and here comes 39, 3, 4. Ready? 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1. Lift your bow. 1, 2, 3, 1. E flat. 2, 3. Forte, and 1, 2, 3, 1. Mezzo and crescendo, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Diminuendo. 56. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 66, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, slows down and fermata. 76, first tempo. 2 measures rest. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, retti and a go. And 3 and a 4, 1 me and a 2, 3, 4, 1 me and a 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fermata. Now 124. Tempo 1. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 126 and ready go. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1, 34 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 37 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, subito, soft, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, più allegro, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and done. And that is all of Zoom. Go back wherever you need to review all those challenging parts, but I think you're doing great. Nice job. And remember, if you practice every day, by the end of the year, you'll be taller.